A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens is a classic novel set against the tumultuous backdrop of the late 18th century during the lead-up to and aftermath of the French Revolution. This sprawling tale explores themes of resurrection, sacrifice, and the consequences of social injustice through a diverse cast of characters whose lives intersect in both London and Paris. The novel opens with one of the most famous lines in English literature: "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." This sentence serves as a thematic introduction to the story, which contrasts the opulence and excesses of the aristocracy in France with the poverty and oppression faced by the common people. The narrative primarily follows the lives of several key characters, including Charles Darnay, a young Frenchman who renounces his aristocratic family to live in London, Sidney Carton, a dissolute English lawyer with a strong resemblance to Darnay, and Lucy Manette, a beautiful young woman who becomes a central figure in their lives. At the heart of the story is the Manette family. Dr. Alexander Manette, Lucy's father, is a former prisoner of the Bastille, unjustly imprisoned for 18 years. He is discovered by his former servant, Ernest Defarge, and his wife, Therese Defarge, who nurse him back to health. After his release, he is reunited with his daughter Lucy, whom he had never known, and they move to London to escape the painful memories of his imprisonment. In London, Lucy and her father build a new life with the help of Mr. Jarvis Lorry, a banker and friend of the Manette family. They form a close-knit and loving family unit. Lucy's beauty and grace attract the attention of Charles Darnay, who falls in love with her. However, Darnay harbors a dark secret. He is the nephew of the cruel Marquis Saint-Evremond, a member of the oppressive French aristocracy. As the novel unfolds, Darnay is arrested in England on charges of being a spy for the French monarchy. He stands trial, but it becomes apparent that his arrest is based on mistaken identity. The brilliant defense attorney, Mr. Stryver, and his associate, Sidney Carton, manage to secure Darnay's acquittal. It is during this trial that Carton, a man who has squandered his potential through a dissolute lifestyle, first shows signs of his unspoken love for Lucy. Meanwhile, in France, the revolutionary fervor is mounting. The common people, driven to desperation by poverty and oppression, rise against the oppressive aristocracy. The Defarges, who had once helped Dr. Manette, are now leaders in the revolutionary movement. Madame Defarge, in particular, is consumed by a desire for revenge against the Saint-Evremond family, who had wronged her family grievously in the past. Lucy and Darnay eventually marry, and their happiness seems complete with the birth of their daughter. However, their idyllic life is disrupted when Darnay feels compelled to return to France to help a former family servant, Gabelle, who is in grave danger. Unbeknownst to him, his return to France places him directly in the crosshairs of the revolution. Darnay is arrested in Paris and imprisoned by the revolutionaries. Dr. Manette, Lucy, and Mr. Lorry follow him to France in a desperate attempt to save him. The novel reaches its climax with Darnay's trial before the Revolutionary Tribunal, where he faces charges of being an enemy of the people. The relentless Madame Defarge is determined to see him condemned to death. As the trial unfolds, Carton's unspoken love for Lucy and his profound sense of failure and dissatisfaction with his own life come to the fore. It becomes evident that Carton, who has so far been portrayed as a cynical and dissolute character, has a deep well of goodness and selflessness within him. He devises a daring plan to save Darnay by switching places with him, sacrificing his own life for the happiness of the woman he loves. Carton's heroic act of self-sacrifice and his final moments on the guillotine are among the most powerful and poignant scenes in literature. His last words, "It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known," encapsulate the novel's themes of resurrection and sacrifice. The novel's title, A Tale of Two Cities, reflects its dual focus on both London and Paris and the stark contrast between the two cities during this turbulent period. Dickens paints a vivid portrait of the chaos, violence, and terror of the French Revolution, juxtaposed with the relative stability and security of London. The novel serves as a commentary on the destructive power of unchecked mob mentality and the human capacity for both cruelty and redemption. As the novel concludes, the surviving characters find a measure of peace and happiness. Darnay is saved from the guillotine, and Lucy and her father return to England with their loved ones. The story ends with a sense of hope and renewal, as if the sacrifices made by Carton and others have paved the way for a brighter future. In conclusion, A Tale of Two Cities is a masterful work of historical fiction that explores timeless themes of love, sacrifice, and the consequences of social injustice. Through its vivid characters and meticulously crafted narrative, Charles Dickens transports readers to a pivotal moment in history where the forces of revolution and the enduring power of human goodness collide. The novel's enduring popularity and relevance attest to its status as a literary classic, and its exploration of the best and worst of times continues to resonate with readers today.